Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlim Lane, Accra, on digital address GA0993341. It's broadcasting live on Joy 99.7 FM, also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian. Telesol, just a touch. UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Mac Auto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu pickups and Chevy cars. Mac Ghana with you for the long run. Coming up in this edition, this is not the time. Education Minister responds to suggestions that government's free SHS program must exclude people who can pay.
It is not up to me to decide who is rich and who is poor. My main aim is to make sure that no matter the child, that child should not suffer anything that would be a stumbling block.
We've got details as he addresses a news conference to outline how the program must run from September. Down but not out. Dismissed Energy Minister Boakye Jaku says his truth will be told when the dust settles on controversy surrounding reviewed Ameri deal, which led to his sacking.
He's my brother, and when you are related by blood, you must be extremely guarded in the things you say or you don't say. But I believe that posterity will always be the best judge, and we believe in that.
We'll hear from his brother Emmanuel Ejaku, who says posterity would judge yesterday's action. Meanwhile, some experts say the energy minister had it coming.
He got the numbers wrong, basically. And for somebody whose strong suit is numbers, it's unfortunate that he went down for the numbers.
Also, doctors at Komfo Anokye Teaching Hospital say a 7-year-old boy suffering from severe skin and mucous membrane disorder is responding to treatment.
Over 100 drugs are known to cause that. Antibacterial agent drugs, especially the sulfur-containing drugs. So usually in managing them we try to stay away from what are known to also cause that.
We'll hear from them as well as his parents who say they are burdened by the cost of treatment. We have sports.
The Confederation of African Football, the SCAF, bans Ghanaian referee David Laye for life as 7 others receive a 10-year ban.
And later on, we have Joy News Agenda. We'll take you to the Upper West region town of Dawango, where the political hijacking of public water facilities is worsening access for locals.
The party boys take control of the water system, take the revenue from the various small-scale town water systems that we have in the district.
All that and more here on the Midday News with me, MFA Paudu. Stay details shortly. Education Minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh says it's too early for government to limit its free senior high school policy to only people who are deemed needy and unable to afford it. Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta offered the suggestion after government announced a bill of over 1.2 billion for the program this academic year. But addressing newsmen at the Information Ministry today, Mr. Opoku Prempeh says the policy will remain open to all, at least for now.
The argument that the rich people want to pay, allow them to pay, it is true. But I don't know which rich person, since we started the free SHS, has gone to the school and said, my child's school fees was supposed to be 1,000, even though government is doing it for free, get this 1,000 cedis and use it for the general welfare of the school. So far, none. It is not up to me to decide who is rich and who is poor. My main aim is to make sure that no matter the child, that child should not suffer anything that would be a stumbling block. We operated northern feeding grants in this country for nearly 60 years. And we didn't say if you are rich, your child should not get northern feeding grants, or if you are poor, your child should not. We did progressive free education in this country for 2 years. We did not discriminate the rich and poor. This is not the time. When every Ghanaian child is in school, we can have the luxury of deciding who is rich and who is poor and using the discriminatory measures perfectly.
Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Maxwell Agbagba was at the news conference and joins us live with more. So Maxwell, is official. Free SHS stays the same way, but there are suggestions that government provides more infrastructure to continue the existing single track system. What was the minister's response to that?
Stated that from various studies by the ministry and analysis of the figures they have, 181,993 GHS graduates may not have the opportunity to enter senior high schools this year. Now, to prevent that, he said We have to provide student furniture, 6-unit classroom blocks. We need 622 of that. Teachers' furniture, dormitories, and bunk beds would have to be provided at a cost of 1 billion Ghana cedis. He says even when we are able to provide that amount, we cannot build quick enough to cater for the 2018 entrance.
Anybody who has a better suggestion of how we cater for the 181,993 kids, government is still open to that suggestion. But so far, so up to now, it is a double track that we think can cater for all those students to get to school. Next slide. A double track is an intervention that allows schools to accommodate more students within the same facility and is often motivated by its potential to reduce overcrowding as well as to save costs relatively to new school constructions. Like I said, if we want to build our way, just the buildings will cost 1 billion Ghana cedis. And if we had the 1 billion, we will not be able to build to fulfill that within the next academic year.
Now, Maxwell, what did the minister say about consent about the huge number of students that the universities will have to admit in the years ahead?
Well, that was a specific question I asked the minister. Some pundits have said that we are only postponing the dire repercussions of a free SHS that does not target the poor, because in a few years, the 2018-2019 cohorts will be graduating to the university. Hence, it is important to know the measures our tertiary institutions are putting in place to accommodate the huge numbers from the double track. The president, after an investiture of the new vice chancellor of the University of Ghana, he implored authorities there to create space for the double track cohort. The Minister of State in charge of tertiary education was present was present, and I asked him that specific question, but that question was disallowed because they said they had no connection with what was being discussed.
Now, there are concerns about headmasters and senior housemasters not being involved in the double track system. Was there any clarification to that by the Education Minister?
Yes, the Education Minister stated that headmasters and then senior housemasters already are in the single track and will be taking part in the single track. They will not be part of the double track.
Maxwell Agbagba there. Of course, we'll get details of that news conference in our subsequent bulletins. Now, away from that, there are indications that dismissal of Boakye Ejiakon as energy minister won't actually end the Ameri controversy just yet. In an unusual move this morning, the former minister tweeted, and I quote, "My side will be heard when the dust is settled." Very close sources to him confirmed to us the tweet was by Mr. Ejiakon himself. He lost his job yesterday following very heated exchanges over the Ameri deal, described as fishy, corrupt, scandalous, and nation-wrecking. The president gave his energy minister the marching orders late yesterday after reports from some persons close to him said he was misled to approve the agreement. Eugene Ahin is press secretary to the president.
Basically, you don't know the circumstances that have surrounded the Ameri deal. The president believes that considering the nature of the information that has come out concerning the deal, he believes at this point in time it is in the best interest of the country, it is the best interest of the Ghanaian people, and also it is in the best interest of his administration that he leaves Minister for Energy of his position at this particular moment. And the former minister has accepted the president's decision.
Now, Mr. Ejiakon's brother, Emmanuel Tremanti Ejiakon, gave his first comments on the sacking of his brother on the AM show this morning, confirming that they would respond to the issues in due course.
This can happen anytime. It is entirely at the pleasure of the president. But all of this was welling up and something had to give. I wouldn't say I saw it coming. It is in the bosom of His Excellency the President. But the trees have a saying. Something was bound to give. With all the noise, people who know him from Methodist School through Mfanspim and Legon would be the best to testify about him. He's my brother, and when you are related by blood, you must be extremely guarded in the things you say or you don't say. You might want to say you blow your own trumpet, but I believe that posterity will always be the best judge, and we should leave it at that. I can tell you that the authoritative Alaram sometimes made mistakes.
You have Emmanuel Tremanti Ejaku, brother of ousted Energy Minister, Mr. Boakye Ejaku. Now, meanwhile, energy expert Kojo Poku says ousted Energy Minister would still be at post should he have worked on the Ameri deal with stakeholders involved in the deal. According to Mr. Kojo Poku, Mr. Ejaku was fired for having the figures wrong.
If a minister comes to you to give you his assertion, you don't argue with him because he's the one that you've put there and he's the one that if the chips falls, he's fired. That is why he hire and fire.
So from your assessment then, this firing is not because Boakye Ejaku was disingenuous, but because he got the maths wrong?
Yes, he got the numbers wrong, basically. And for somebody whose strong suit is numbers, because he's from the banking background, it's unfortunate that he went down for the numbers. The memo that the man took to Parliament, if you go through it, I only went through it for 30 minutes and I could spot 3 or 4 things that were not supposed or were wrong with the memo. So I'm surprised that the whole minister will take that and sign that to cabinet to Parliament without spotting those contradictions. There are so many contradictions. In one part, there's a 52 million that the GOG says they don't acknowledge from Ameri, but then in a different part, they are saying that somebody is paying that on behalf of the government. If the finance people have looked at it and he have gotten the finance minister on his board and the finance minister has signed it, then he would have known that, look, they could have spotted those things for him. But he went on it alone, and unfortunately, he's gone on it alone.
The Africa Center for Energy Policy is also urging government to hold talks with the providers of the Ameri power plant to bring down tariffs. Energy Minister Boakye Ejaku, we all know, has been sacked after almost reaching a deal with a third party to handle the plant, but at a higher cost to the taxpayer. Policy analyst at ASEP, Ben Boakye, says direction talks with Ameri is a better option.
The persons or the company we have engaged or a contract with is the Ameri itself, and we have to engage them and probably appeal to them and say, hey, this is if we see the contract. Give the public some money, because ultimately if the public is not able to pay through the tariff, you're not also going to get your money.
Okay.
And, cash calls delayed and everything affects them also. So that you can come to that understanding and agree that some savings ought to be passed to the consumer. And I think that is the only way you can make a headway. Going around it, negotiating with third parties, I don't think that is the right thing to do. Engage the people we have a contract with and appeal to them that we cannot pay this much and that they have to bring down the tariff.
You heard Ben Boakye, policy analyst or the executive director of ASEP. Now, with the energy minister Boakye Ejaku ousted, we know that Lands and Natural Resources minister has been asked to act in his stead until a substantive minister is found or named by the president. But with that, we're told there's an imminent reshuffle in the offing. And Joy News editor Evans Mensah joins us in studio with more on this. What do we know, Evans?
So what we've been told, and this has been coming for a while, I recall when the president did the assessment of the ministers, everybody met him and they were assessed in terms of their performance. It's been coming for a while, but we've been told that on the back of the removal of the energy minister, a major reshuffle is in the offing. And yesterday, for example, we posed that question to the Director of Communications, who only confirmed that they will definitely appoint a substantive minister for the energy ministry's position. But on the back of which we expect a broader reshuffle. In fact, our sources at the presidency had confirmed, multiple sources confirmed that a number of the ministers have all day been to the Flagstaff House in several meetings, either with the Chief of Staff or the President, on this. We cannot tell what the contents of those conversations are, except to say that the sources are very strong, that we should expect some form of a announcement in terms of the ministers moving around in a cabinet reshuffle, either sometime this week or next week. But it's pretty imminent now.
Do you have any names so far?
No.
You heard any names?
No, except to repeat what the Director of Communications told us yesterday, that we can expect a substantive appointment in the energy minister's job. I mean, we will not hold that position permanently, he says, because he's juggling between two very heavy ministries in terms of the workload, and we should expect a substantive. Maybe, from what we're hearing, that replacement would come with the bigger reshuffle. So we'll hear a substantive replacement for the energy minister's position, but that name, whoever gets that job, will be part of the broader, reshuffle that the president intends to do.
Evans Mensah, thank you. Of course, in our subsequent bulletins, we'll get more on this imminent reshuffle that's in the offing. Meanwhile, the East Legon Police has begun investigations into claims of death threats on the life of Public Relations Officer for the Energy Ministry, Nano Pondamwa. According to Superintendent Safer Zatha, the suspect, Herbert Krapper, who is out of town, has been contacted and is expected back in a few days to assist with the investigations. He says Mr. Pondamwa lodged the complaint late afternoon yesterday. Superintendent Arthur also noted that other persons might be involved, so they will continue with the investigations until the suspect arrives.
About 4:20 p.m. yesterday, one Nana Kofi Opondamwa, who said he is the PRO for the Ministry of Energy, called at a police station here to make a complaint that he's been issued with threats. And so he was seeking police assistance. In other words, he was lodging a complaint with the police to enable us investigate his allegation. So we took his complaint and we have already commenced our own investigations. We were going to take his statement there and then, and he had to take the statement form so that you could submit it later. We are waiting for him. We have also tried to contact the suspect in this case, who is not within the shores of this country presently, and he has promised that when he returns, he will report to assist the police with investigation. His concern is that somebody has sent him text message issuing threats, and to him the threats, the words of threats are as follows. And I'm paraphrasing, that if he doesn't stop peddling falsehood about somebody, there will be a showdown. If he doesn't stop peddling falsehood about somebody, there will be a showdown. And he deems it a threat on his life or something. So he thought it would be expedient to let the police know about it so that they investigate.
You heard the Superintendent Safer Zatha, commander of the East Legon Police Station. Now, the Special Prosecutor, Martin Amidu, has reported Member of Parliament for the Bokut Central, Mahama Ayariga, to the Economic and Organized Crime Organization, IOCO, for attempting to obstruct investigations against him. In a statement, Mr. Amidu revealed that he was investigating Ayariga on suspicion of commission of corruption and abusing his office by importing 3 Toyota Land Cruiser V8s into the country. Joint News Editor Fred Smith joins me with details of that statement issued by the Special Prosecutor. Tell us more about the claims being made by the Special Prosecutor, Fred.
Well, the Special Prosecutor mentions in this statement that the Honourable Member used a parliamentary resolution dated 7th of April 2017 contracting a facility of $22,500,000 between the Parliamentary Service and the Societe Generale Bank, which was for the purchase of one brand new official vehicle for each of the 275 members of Parliament. He doesn't explain how this affects the 3 vehicles he says the Honourable Mahama Yariga imported. But he's saying that due to the fact that the investigations division of his office was in the process of being set up, he invited IOCO to undertake a joint investigation of the suspected offences with his office as permitted under the establishment of IOCO and the Special Prosecutor's Office. And he's saying that the suspect refused to report to IOCO on a number of occasions when he was invited. He was also told to bring some vehicles, and he's provided registration numbers for those vehicles. There are 5 of them here. I will not mention the numbers. Consequently, he says that it fell on him to write to the Speaker of Parliament with a copy to the Honourable Mahama Yariga to get him released so he could attend the IOCO investigation.
Okay, so he talks about pressure from former colleagues, pastors, amongst chiefs and others about this particular investigation. So how is the substantive investigation affected?
Well, he's saying that when the suspect, he calls him the Honorable Mahama Yarga, received a copy of his letter to the speaker, he immediately started to get people he perceived could put pressure on him. And he mentioned people he says are his personal friends, former colleagues, chiefs, men of God, among others, and to abate the investigations being conducted into the performance of his functions under Acts 959 and Acts 804. And he asked Iyoko on a number of occasions to warn the suspect to desist from his conduct of obstructing the investigations by soliciting others to put pressure on him to abate same. And that did not stop.
Okay. Join News editor Fred Smith with details of that statement from the special prosecutor. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Stories covered so far. This is not the time. Education Minister has been responding to suggestions that government's free SHS program must exclude people who can pay. Also down but not out, dismissed Energy Minister Boakye Jaku says his truth will be told when the dust settles on controversy surrounding the reviewed Ameri deal, which led to his sacking. We've also been telling you about an imminent reshuffle at the Flagstaff House or the Jubilee House. And still to come, doctors at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital say a 7-year-old boy suffering from severe skin and mucous membrane disorder is responding to treatment.
Over 100 drugs are known to cause that. Antibacterial agent drugs, especially the sulfur-containing drugs. So usually in managing them we try to stay away from what are known to also cause that.
And on Joy News Agenda, we take you to the Upper West Region town of Dalmongo, where the political hijacking of public water facilities is worsening access for locals.
The party boys take control of the water system, take the revenue from the various small-scale town water systems that we have in the district.
That is a sweet sound of excellence. That is the sound from Mack. Yes, Mack Ghana is the #1 distributor of the world's best quality Isuzu and Chevrolet vehicles in Ghana. Isuzu trucks from 1.5 tons to heavy-duty vehicles. Isuzu buses from 15 to 33 seaters, double and single cabin pickup, available in automatic and manual transmissions. We also stock a wide range of Chevy cars, from SUVs, sedans, and small cars, fully loaded with exquisite specifications. All our range of vehicles stand out due to its high fuel efficiency, safety, luxury, spacious interior, world-class delivery, and after-sales servicing. What's more, we offer flexible payment terms to meet your pockets. Mack Ghana is a sole distributor for Isuzu trucks and pickups, as well as all range of Chevrolet cars in Ghana. Call us on 0302-813-919 in Accra or 0242-039-550 in Kumasi. Visit our website, MackGhana.com. Mack Ghana, with you for the long run.
This week on the Joy Business Van, giving your vehicles a dazzling look. 2 pharmacists behind Auto Dazzle, car cleaning products manufactured right here in Ghana.
We've always had a passion for cars. I mean, to the point that in school, when you open our laptops, the first thing you see is a screensaver with some Mercedes-Benz or a BMW, and you can tell you what brand it is, what model it is, that kind of thing.
So the first thing was to find out what's on the market. And then quickly we realized it's only fabric detergents that are used to wash cars, and we realized, no, that will straight away damage your paint, and that's not acceptable.
Pampering your vehicles with Auto Dazzle. This week on the Joy Business Van, on TV, radio, online, and on ground. The Joy Business Van is powered by Joy Business and supported by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time now for sports with Benedict Owusu.
Yes, MFA. Now, Ghanaian referee David Laye has been banned for life by the Confederation of African Football, and the decision was arrived following the revelations of the Anas Arimiyao Anaz's expose on football corruption, which caught several of the referees on camera receiving bribes. Abigail Senasusu has more.
Last Sunday, the disciplinary board of the Confederation of African Football held a meeting to decide over the cases of referees named in the Anas Aremiao Anas expose. Assistant referee David Laye received the biggest punishment of a life ban, with 7 others receiving a 10 years ban from the sport. The 7 are Reginald Lovebridge, Eric Nantwi, Cecil Flesher, Dawood Drago, Malik Salifu, Theresa Ankunyam, and Joseph Wellington.
So that was Abigail Senasusu's report. Now, Black Star striker Rafael Jamana has joined Spanish side Levante from Swiss side FC Zurich, and Jamana has penned down a 4-year deal. However, the transfer fee involved remains unknown. Also, another Black Stars player on the move is Abdul Majid Waris. He has joined Nantes FC on a season-long loan with a view to a permanent transfer. Waris joins the club from FC Porto, where he actually failed to hit the grounds running, and ahead of the new season, he has returned to France after a short spell with the Portuguese giants. Also, Chelsea have ordered Thibaut Courtois to attend a disciplinary meeting this week after he failed to show up for training for a second day. And Courtois has opted not to report back for pre-season training after the World Cup as he attempts to force a move to Real Madrid. And he has tagged that move as his dream move, if indeed it's going to materialize. And there's this news about Usain Bolt, who is a 9-time Olympic champion. Well, he will join A-League side Central Coast Mariners to train for an indefinite period with an option to play in their league.
Okay, that's your sports with Benedict Owusu. Voices of local spare parts dealers at Swami Magazine in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi. Earlier today, they embarked on a peaceful march to ensure shops belonging to foreign nationals remain closed. It comes a week after the Ghanaian traders went on rampage and forced mainly Nigerians to lock up their facilities for illegally engaging in retail trade in breach of the country's laws. Attempts by authorities, including the police, to resolve the matter have been unsuccessful. Here's one of the traders who spoke to Love News on why they decided to go on the march.
We've not done anything to the Nigerians, but all that we are saying is we want the law to take its own course. But we don't understand the reason why certain media outlets are saying we are chasing Nigerians. That is not the issue. We are saying Ghana Investment Promotion Act 865. That's what we want, whatever the institution have to enforce the law. Because that is it. That is it. By the law, this is a business, it's a petty trading for indigenous Ghanaians, and we are supposed to do without them. Yes. We are supposed to do without them. So, unless something happens, it's going to be the same.
Traders there at Swami Magazine. Now, doctors at Konfanochi Teaching Hospital say a 7-year-old boy who is suffering from severe skin and mucous membrane disorder is responding to treatment. They say Emmanuel Ameyao's condition, known medically as Stevens-Johnson syndrome, could be a reaction to medication or an infection. The boy reportedly developed the condition, which causes the skin to blister and peel off on admission at Akontombra Government Hospital in the Western region. Now, head of Pediatric Emergency Unit, Silverkin Justice, says Emmanuel, who has earlier been diagnosed of malaria, will need several weeks to recover. It's time now for Joy News Agenda, and today we take you to Damongo in the northern region with a focus on access to clean drinking water. Rafiq Salam looks at how the hijacking of public water facilities in the region by party foot soldiers is affecting access. Residents are now said to be spending huge sums of money to buy unclean water for their daily use.
Water is life in Damongo. The over 36,000 residents on daily basis struggle for it. They have dozens of boreholes in the community, but few are mechanized. Those that are not mechanized are operated manually and are unyielding. Majority of the people depends on hand-dug well for water. Phone repairer Bakari Fatau lives at Atreboto, a suburb of Damongo. He spoke of the inconveniences they go through to get water.
The dry season, people have to go long miles to fetch water. But my area, there's a well at the back, immediate back of my house. So that place, it helps a lot. So the whole town, people will be trooping from areas to come there to fetch water. So some people walk from miles to my area to fetch water.
For those who are craving to have water from the mechanized borehole, have to pack their yellow gallons here for their turn.
Rafiq Salam with that report. Time now to check out what's trending on social media. What are people talking about, Max?
They're talking about the Ameri deal, and from Salom_Romeo says, so will Mr. President learn from the Ameri deal mistake and listen to industry experts on the free SHS double track system, or will he wait and blame his ministers when major and obvious problems surface later on? And at FK Kwaku says, the case of the energy minister may or may not be an isolated one. How many deals has the president been misled to apprehend his signature to?
Thank you, Maps. And that's all in this edition of the Midday News. I am Emefa Apau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good afternoon.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, don't worry, Grandpa. There are still 5 ripe and 15 unripe mangoes on the tree.
That's my boy.